Hello, ladies, gentlemen. Welcome back to a video that was requested for me to watch on stream. And I figured, you know what, I have a good experience when it comes to videos like that. I've done a bunch of build videos myself. So because of that, I feel like I can react and give some really good information regarding the video we are about to watch together. Now, before we fully go into this video, looks like we have a couple of fans here around. I don't know what's going on, but shout out to these boys. We're gonna be reacting to Nemes XTV's Unkillable Clump Fighter PvP Bruiser build, and I've watched this video off recording before. The video got a ton of views, but it has quite a lot of, in my opinion, misinformation regarding Bruiser build and Bruiser pathing. So because of that, I wanted to make this reactionary video. This is not to be rude towards the person that created that video. We all have to start somewhere, and he has some amazing ideas that I think we could implement ourselves even, but I think a lot of the information is unfortunately a little bit wrong. Now, before we get into it, I think it is worth it of me to show you what, in my opinion, and what in a lot of EU player base opinion is best in slot for bruisers. And you're gonna see me have a nice mix between Opal and Onyxes in order to reach a very balanced defensive tree in around 8 to 10% elemental damage resistant range, and between let's say 8 to 10 strike thrust, and then obviously between 17 and 20, let's put it that way, slash damage resistance. Now, I could easily change one of my punishing, let's say, elemental words with punishing Onyx word in order to reach that. That's what I have in my fresh server, but I get nice success with this. I don't feel like I need the change. That's my personal opinion. I could easily, as I said, swap one elemental out. It would drop me down to 8.6 elemental resistance, and it would up my physical to 19% and 8.9%. Now let's go very quickly through my gear. Obviously, I have build videos out there. We have a shock thwarting chain on the hammer. A slightly better version would be shock thwarting attunement or shock thwarting jagged. Then we have a full beast Great Axe, refreshing move chain thwarting on the Great Axe. Arguably, an also very good Great Axe could be refreshing move thwarting strikes and attunement. A very good Great Axe would be refreshing move thwarting strikes and Maelstrom, for example. Moving on, we go to the helmet, shirking crit retribution resi. Arguably, crit retribution is a bad perk, and I could go with shirk resi and, for example, Path of Destiny, or shirk resi and another freedom. But I, for now, will stick to this until I find another freedom perk. Going on to the body, freedom shirking resi. Going on to the medium glove, freedom resi grav. Going on to the, legs, freedom shirking resi. Going on to the boots, freedom shirking resi. In my opinion, and in a lot of bruisers' opinion, there is going to be very close to a full beast bruiser setup. As I said, I can switch my medium helmet with Resi Shirking Freedom if I wanted to. That would make it so the freedom wouldn't be fully effective, because 5 freedoms are slight overkill. 4 freedoms is the sweet spot, 3 freedoms is a must, less than 3 freedoms is useless. But this is my next upgrade, is probably actually going to be the Resi Shirking POD or Resi Shirking and Freedom. Moving on to an amulet, Absolute Beast Amulet is stamina recovery slash protection and health. There is no arguments about other amulets at the moment being this. If you were a healer, it would be like thrust protection, but we are not healers. We're bruisers out here, right? So this is complete bis. Moving on to ring, you have 2 options here, either leeching, invigorated punishment and slash damage, or heart invigorated punishment and slash damage. There's a mix between these two. Me personally on a medium, I don't feel like I need the extra 10 hearty. Well, the extra 10 stamina that I would get from Hearty. Somebody else will have a different opinion. Moving on to Earring, you need Refreshing Toast, Purifying Toast. Regenerating is a nice bonus. If you don't have this, you can go Doomschance Earring, for example. When it comes to the Heart runes, we have a couple of options. Recently, a decent one that people like to run is actually not the Brutal Heart rune of Stoneform, but a Cunning Heart rune of Stoneform. So alongside your CC reduction, you're also getting healed. But obviously, the most important one being the Brutal Heart rune of Detonate. Now, you might be wondering, why am I talking about this as if it was my build video? Because we're about to watch a video that is a build video that a lot of people have seen that I think has a couple of flaws, and I will comment on those as well. Now, very quickly, obviously, if you're here for the build video, with Carrot Cakes, we're reaching 300 strength to 110 con. And when it comes to Warhammer 3, this is it. If you want to run Armor Breaker, you can run Armor Breaker instead of Wrecking Ball, or Armor Breaker, Wrecking Ball, and Shockwave, and drop down Path of Destiny. Those are your two options. And when it comes to Great Axe, this is the only real tree worth running. You shouldn't ever run Bloodlust because you're missing out on too many valuable passives over here on the right tree. And that is really all there is to run. Now that we have this out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this video and react to it. The reason why I decided to react to it is because I feel like it is really important for people to see the difference between, let's say, NA Bruiser and EU Bruiser, and I'll tell you why I think his build is not ideal and why I think it's almost bad in a sense. But that, once again, is nothing to do against the person making the video. In fact, I'm very happy he made the video because it can open a couple of things to discussion, right? But in my personal opinion, I think a lot of this is pretty bad, actually. But let's get into his video. We're gonna react to it. We're gonna see what we can improve. I would love to see a follow-up to this video and see if he includes any of the changes that we suggest him to include in order to make his build like really fucking good. All right, so let's get at it.
Guys, it's your boy X. We're back with some more fragtastic content.
That's up to him as well.
Here we have our updated Bruiser build. It's the Unkillable Bruiser build. It's literally insane. You can just destroy everything. So far with this build, we've won 2 offensive wars, popped off top.
Okay, he had nice success with a build. That's why he wants to share it with us. Good.
It's nasty. In OPRs, 30 bombs all day. It's gross. It's just a very...
Now, before I go into it, first thing I see that bothers me is that this is not legendary. Heart Rune at this point has to be legendary. It brings you so much more value. I would like to see him upgrade this into a legendary form as fast as possible. That would be a phenomenal immediate improvement to his build.
Very mean build. We'll kind of break it down into a few different sections. We'll go over the gear, we'll go over some of the skills needed, and we'll kind of go over the playstyle a bit. Try to keep everything short and sweet. So starting off with the gear, we have...
Okay, let's comment on the gear. First thing I see, no resilient. Now, as we go deeper into the video, he will explain that he's running 4 resilient, and that is perfectly fine for him. In my opinion, 4 resilient can be okay. As soon as you're met with a bunch of decks, you will start feeling it. So 5 resilient is almost a must. 4 is okay, but when I look at this item, I don't see freedom, I don't see shirking, I don't see resi. To me, this item is a 1-perker. It is an interesting idea because it seems like in NA, I believe he's from NA, and if he's not, that's gonna sound really awkward, and I would like to sincerely apologize, but I do believe we're talking about NA meta right now, and he justifies frost conditioning and elemental aversion as a reason to make IG useless, basically. But as much as I find frost conditioning kind of interesting, and I don't see anybody really run it in EU, elemental aversion, for example, would be something that you could add onto my build, going with 5 resi, let's say 3 freedom, 3 shirking, the rest you fill it up with elemental aversion. That could be decent. That is something I personally do not believe in because I use gemstones and I have 10% elemental aversion on my stats. But since, as you can see, his gear, he's really only running slash protection on most of his armor, meaning that the bows are gonna hurt him like crazy. The muskets are gonna be absolute pain to deal with. The hammer auto attacks are gonna absolutely destroy him. The Great Axe is gonna tickle him, the Great Sword is gonna tickle him. So he's gonna be surviving that, but everything else is gonna be absolutely nuking him. I can't imagine like a little void oblive scream into fucking hammer. He gets 1 hit, in my personal opinion. But we're gonna go through this and see his reasonings for this.
Elemental aversion, frost conditioning, critical retribution. I love critical retribution on my head. Especially because I don't use one on my ring.
Speaking of his ring, if you quickly saw it, that's a completely bis ring. In my opinion, he should put that up to 6 to 5. That ring is gonna be amazing for a long time to come. And that was invigorated punishment, slash damage, and leeching. It's exactly what we're running.
So this allows me to make sure that when I go into a clump, I'm gonna go ahead and get that crit rep proc and get a little bit of extra crit, which is obviously very wonderful on the Great Axe, healing us a little bit, dealing more damage, works really great.
Okay, so crit is not actually that useful on a Great Axe or Warhammer. The multiplier is kind of shit. It looks nicer because the number looks more red, but other than that, the crit retribution can really be dropped. It's very much considered the dead perk, and I was in his mindset maybe like a few months ago, where I thought, damn, this crit retribution, that really seems like a good perk. But realistically, anything else you can get instead of that, whether it's Resi, whether it's Freedom, whether it's Shirking, whether it's a perk, all of that would be a better option than crit retribution. It's a nice like half perk if you want to call it that. I guess it seems good on paper, but it's not actually good.
Elemental Aversion is awesome. This paired with Frost Conditioning will really help us take as little damage as possible when we're in clumps for mage.
So, I know I'm pausing a lot, I'm turning into Asmongold, but that's alright. So, he says that Elemental Aversion and Frost Conditioner is really awesome, it's gonna prevent the ice damage. And this is where I can say, when I read this, I mean, it kind of makes sense. But then when you actually play the game, you shouldn't really ever be dying to ice storms anyways. Like, ice is not there to deal damage to you. Sure, it tickles you a little bit, but you just gemstone regen, that shit does no damage. Especially if you actually have proper gems in your gear. I feel like it's a wasted perk. Every time you see that Frost Conditioning, it looks good, man. Shit, maybe it even is good, but I think it's a wasted perk, in my personal opinion.
So we don't have to really worry so much about mages, and we can kind of get to do what we need to do, whether that be hunting healers, you know, fighting in the clump, getting frags there. At least you can just worry about focusing on iframing, you know what I'm saying? Iframing the melee moves, and
this is what everybody should focus on regardless, right, if you're a bruiser, but it's okay, it makes sense what he's explaining.
The blunderbuss, splitting grenades, things like that. You don't have to pay so much attention to the, you know, ice showers and things of that nature. Moving on to the chest piece.
I would disagree with that, but that's okay.
Resilient.
This to me is a one perker. Moving on to the body, seeing Elemental Aversion Resilient, to me that's a one perker. Maybe 1.5 perker at best. I would rather, what I would want to see here is Resi with Shirking, right? Or if he's able to reach 3 freedom pieces, shit, even a Resi freedom. Right? But seems like NA really values this Elemental Aversion perk, and I can see it why on paper, but realistically just gemstone it up, you'll be alright, you know? Like, but I get it, if they're stacking moonstones the way they are, because like, looking at his stats, he has so much slash protection, but everything else is like really lacking. I think this is a bad piece, personally. I would like him to upgrade this to at least Resi Shirking. It would make him survive it much better.
Elemental Aversion. You'll see here that I only use 4 pieces of Resilient. Obviously, we have 150 cons.
This is what I was talking about earlier.
There. 4 pieces of Resi with the 150 con. I feel good with it. If I did have to swap for something,
he feels good with it. He would feel even better with it if he had 5 Resi.
Else, you know what I mean? Obviously, we could get Resilient on here, but I don't think that is necessary. I think 4 pieces plus 150 is great. My perfect in an ideal world on this, I would get maybe Shirking Fortification, or maybe really just Shirking Fortification. That's what I would do for this. That's my best build there.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know if you can have Resi, Shirking Fortification, and Elemental Aversion on one piece. Probably you can. I'm guessing you can, yeah. Bro, now I'm really confused. I'm recording this at 5 a.m. and now my brain does not know if I can have that. Regardless, yeah, this piece is not that good. That's all I'm gonna say. Now I need to Google it, bro.
Moving forward to the
Resi, Shirking,
Resilient, Insatiable.
Elemental Aversion.
The third perk that I want to get on this would probably be Elemental Aversion. Usually I only use 2 pieces of Shirking for it. Ideally, sometimes 3. I feel like 3 is a little bit overkill.
Wait, I'm trying to find it. Is it even possible? Wait, I don't think it's possible. Hold up. Hey there, I think Shirking Fortification could use a nerf tweak, as it is based on pretty much all builds currently, and even with crafting nerfs. Legendary pieces with Resi Shirking Fortification plus useful perks still go for way above 100k, which how could I check this, by the way? Newer players to optimize their gear. The perk itself is strong because it gives flat 45%, which is good. PvP scenarios is good. Wait, I think it'd be way healthier for the game to have it changed to melee aversion, similar to physical aversion and elemental aversion. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna Google it on the side. I don't know where to find it.
I like to kind of prioritize other perks It's not necessarily overkill. I feel like with where I'm at in the game currently, obviously we have thousands of hours on Great Axe Warhammer. You know, a lot of mastery there. I really think two is good. So the extra damage mitigation when fighting in clumps from blunderbuss, from ice gauntlets, you know, things of that nature, I think would do definitely much better. So elemental aversion, I would get on this.
Yeah, no, you can't have it. So, look, going on New World Guide, his Biz build being obviously, let's just put like, wait, why does this not work? Either way, I don't think you can do it, by the way. So, Resi Shirking, can I do? This is 6 to 5, we lock it as well, there. Resi Shirking Elemental Aversion. I don't think you can do it. Yeah, you can only have one perk like that. So he's asking for his Biz to be Resi Shirking Elemental Aversion, but it's not actually possible to have it. I don't know why this is blue, but yeah, this is a bit unlucky. Like, man, it sucks. It sucks because obviously, let's just speculate that maybe his experience is not as much, maybe in crafting, right? So, but trying to hit an item that is unhittable is... and then justifying that that's the Biz. It even confused me for a bit, and I've been playing this game for 5,000 hours. But that is not possible, right? So that's why most of his gear, in my opinion, is like 1.5 perker gear. Let's keep it going.
The regular pants, if you play Brimstone Sands, you know this is probably one of the easiest pieces to farm and probably one of the best pieces to farm. It's just a free piece with Shirking Fort and Refreshing Resilient. The Refreshing for me is a waste, really. I mean, I don't really care about Refreshing. I'm just kind of using it just to get as a buffer, kind of a buffer piece right now. My ideal piece for this would probably be Resilient, Shirking Fortification, and then maybe Elemental Aversion.
See, he says it again here. What's his Biz for light pens, Resi Shirking, and then maybe Elemental Aversion. Once again, pulling up the side. You can't do it, right? If you go for Freedom, you can do it. Boom, Resi Shirk Freedom. You go for, I don't know, Resi Shirk Freedom, solid. Refreshing Ward, yeah? A Refreshing Ward, for example. Boom, that would be a solid piece. Resi Shirking Refreshing Ward, very decent, right? But this Elemental Aversion meta, man, it's not it. It's not it. You can't have Shirking and Elemental Aversion, and Shirking just simply outclasses Elemental Aversion in every single aspect of the game. Look, dodging through an enemy attack grants Fortify, increases damage absorption by 3.9% for 6 seconds, all damage absorption, right? So justifying elemental range attacks, protection, or Shirking Fortification should immediately be a no-brainer that Shirking is a billion times better. And that bothers me because that Elemental Aversion is not good. Like, it's not it.
Elemental Aversion. Moving forward to the boots, we have Resilient Frost.
And this is the first piece that I actually find kind of interesting. This Frost Conditioning Elemental Aversion Resi. I guess these two can stack like Frost, but I've never seen anybody run Frost Conditioning or any other conditionings in that matter. But this is the actual only interesting item that I see in his build, where I could be like, oh, I see how this can be kind of useful on a Bruiser, how you can mitigate some sort of damage. So it's an interesting idea behind this. But once again, it's boots. If this was Resi Shirking Freedom, it's a no-brainer to me what's better, right? And to everybody watching this video probably as well.
Conditioning Elemental Aversion. So we have 2 pieces of Frost Conditioning, allowing us to mitigate 8% of frost damage.
Okay, again, so 8% frost.
And in combination with 1, 2, 3 pieces of Elemental Aversion, which is also reducing damage by 12%. We are essentially rendering the Ice Gauntlet useless. Like, it does nothing.
Yeah, the Ice Gauntlet... With this build, Ice Gauntlet, I can see it dealing nothing. But if you're pre-potting regions, if you're pre-potting cleansing pots, Ice Gauntlet does nothing as is already.
To us.
So we're basically stacking protection against something that doesn't matter if you have the right gem setup on you.
Is really big, you know what I mean? Anytime you see Clump, anytime you see Gravel, you know it's going to get ice showered, ice stormed, all that big stuff. We don't worry about that whatsoever.
Yeah, we don't worry about ice, but we do worry about void. Yeah, we worry about that Grave popping, dealing void damage that we have zero protection against. We have zero void damage resistance. We got... Oh, it hurts, bro.
However, we have the elemental aversion in there, so we're getting about roughly 12, well, a little bit less, like 11.7% damage mitigation from elemental gems, which allows us to do something really cool, and we'll get into that once we get done going over the rest of the drip. So for the
Now this one hurts.
Ami, we have health.
This is a 1.5 perker amulet, and let me explain to you why. I'm gonna quickly close the game before my computer explodes. You're missing stamina recovery. Arguably the most important perk on a Bruiser. Why? It gives you a triple dodge into full shirking stacks. And on top of that, when you get hit low, it gives you another triple dodge. That's 6-7 iframes just by having that one perk on an amulet. On top of that, you get health. Not to mention Divine is a completely dead perk on a Bruiser. Why? Most of your heals are going to be over heals anyways. Shirking Debilitate Cleanse, it's really not that good, but I can see it being used. Let's say if you have Stam Recovery Health and that's your third perk, sure, but always look for Stam Recovery, always look for health, and then the third one, the big one, the Slash Protection. Shit, you can even get a free Slash Protection Health and Divine Amulet, and that would be amazing. Even that would be amazing at the beginning. Sure, you don't have Stam Recovery, fuck it, but it would be a ton better than this. I believe you can get it from Barnacles. And the reason for that, you then don't need 1, 2, 3, technically 4 punishing moonstones that you have wasted over here in the armor. Well, you've wasted 3 and then 1 extra on the amulet. You can simply just have a slash protection on an amulet, and you have 4 slots where you can include different type of gems and actually be an unkillable clump fighter, because now you have 4 punishing gems that you can use and actually protect against stuff that deals damage to you.
Health Divine, Shirking, Debilitate, Cleanse. I would like to see Health Divine, Shirking, and Power in a perfect world.
Sure, I wouldn't agree with that. That would still be really bad. I would really recommend him, if he ever sees this video, go for that stamina, recovery, health, and try to get that slash protection. It's a 250 to 300k amulet, not too hard to hit, but if you can't get that, you can look for the free one. Health Divine slash protection, sure, or even Champion's Amulet, right? Stam recovery, health with, I believe in power, what he's talking about.
World, just haven't got that roll yet. This I found really cheap. It was like 10k. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Instacop. It was right before one of our offensive wars. I really just wanted an extra, just an extra little bit of perk to min-max everything. Shirking Debilitate Cleanse is kind of nice.
I don't want to be... I know I'm the guy that's just being rude right now, so I'm just going to let it play a bit. But I disagree, obviously, with a lot of the things he's saying. And I believe it maybe comes with probably a little bit of inexperience, but... also just maybe slight misunderstanding of the meta. That can completely easily happen, and that's why we're making this video. I would really love to see him improve his setup, like, to a really good Bruiser setup, right? And we have a ton of build videos on our channel regarding that as well. And basically this whole video will serve as a purpose to learn as to how to optimize your Bruiser build. It's really gonna help a lot of people out, I believe.
Not shirking a power, but it's still pretty good. Being able to lose that rend or weaken primarily is what I'm looking at here. That way, excuse me, that way I can either deal more damage or prevent myself from taking as much damage. Moving on to the ring.
This is the only thing in his build that I'd be like, listen buddy, good fucking shit. This is a full bis ring. Pump it up to 6 to 5 gear score when you have the chance, when you have the shards. Use it. This is phenomenal. This is gonna serve you well for a long time to come.
This is probably one of my favorite pieces so far.
Good, yes, it's a good piece.
Damage, Invigorated Punishment, and Leeching. Really good. I was thinking about maybe doing something different here, but
it's bis.
So far,
don't touch it.
Really great for me. Slash damage, obviously adding the 5%, well 4.9% to
up this to 6 to 5. It's gonna deal 5. It's fucking phenomenal. This is a perfect piece. Don't change it.
Are just base abilities from the Great Axe, which is really awesome. I think that anytime you're looking at min-max damage, having whatever your attribute is in a damage form on your ring is awesome. Specifically with the Bruiser build, it's really cool. So we got 5% there. Invigorated Punishment, dealing
very good, yes.
Obviously potential max 16% damage off abilities, and then Leeching just for some extra sustainability. It was kind of the perk that I rolled. It's not terrible, it's not great,
but it's bis. It's fucking phenomenal. It's great. Stick by it. It's sick.
Extra, extra 5% heals. Helps keep you up a little bit, but really leeching is just it's kind of meh. But invigorated
No,
punishment slash
it's not. It's good. It's fine. You don't need Hearty. It's nice to have it. I would personally argue leeching over Hearty in this situation. And those are really the only two options that I would take there.
damage together is really good because we're ensuring that we can essentially deal maximum damage off our auto attacks and also try to get max damage and big burst damage off our abilities. Gravel still being one of the predominantly strongest abilities in the game with insane burst.
Fun fact, I actually don't know if this impacts your Gravwell damage. I think Void damage would impact the Gravwell pop damage. But it would impact everything from left clicks to slash to charge, right? I believe. I might be wrong on this one. As I said, have a lot of hours, but shit, even I can be wrong sometimes, you know?
Burst damage and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. And I think it pairs really well. For the earring, I have refresh.
I think when you come to 2 perker, like Refreshing Toast, Purifying Toast, just get a Doom's Chance. At that point, it does the better job. You get Regenerating and Refreshing on top of that. Sure, you drop the Purifying Toast, but you still have Refreshing Toast. Until you get a 3 perker, which is Refreshing Toast, Purifying Toast, and Regenerating, I would personally just use Doom's Chance. It does the job. It's better than this for sure.
Refreshing Toast, Purifying Toast. This is honestly one of my favorite pieces as well too, although it's purple. Just because Purifying Toast
It's
and
nice.
Refreshing
It's
Toast
nice.
are so good. Potions cooling down faster, obviously a must.
But
If you're gonna
still,
get an earring, no
the
matter
other
what,
one would
no
be
matter
better.
what build, Refreshing Toast always a must. Purifying Toast is good because whenever you're in OPRs or in wars, primarily OPRs, because in wars obviously we have cleansing potions, which is literally insanely broken. But in OPRs, especially if you don't have healers, you're solo queuing, things of that nature. Purifying Toast, pop that common regen real quick.
Don't play Bruiser in OPRs without a pocket healer. You're not gonna have fun.
Not the infused boys, because it's a waste. Pop a common regen, get your get your debuff gone, get the extra health regen, works really well. The one that I would swap in wartime scenario is just Doom.
Oh, there we go.
Doom Chance
Sure,
is still really
he's
good.
talking about it.
Again, it just Purifying Toast.
Oh,
is
but what
redundant
bothers
when
me
you have-
so much is that he doesn't have a single piece on even 6 to 3 gear score. You gotta bump that up, get that extra stat. We're talking about mid-maxing, it's worth it. Get that to 6 to 3, get the ring to 6 to 3. He has weapons, that's good. Weapons are up, that's nice. But he's missing quite a lot of stats by just not having stuff gear scored up.
Have cleansing pots because cleansing pots are so broken. This would be something I would go to. Something I would, if I rolled a perfect Biss, maybe I put Refreshing Ward on here, Refreshing Toast.
Okay, so perfect beast for earring, perfect beast, pardon, for earring. We said it before. It would be regenerating, refreshing toast, purifying toast. That's it.
And Purifying Toast, right? And that would be awesome. That'd be amazing. But this is cool. Everybody's got Doom Chance. It works fine. You're great. You're chilling. Moving over to the big boy stuff.
And now, before he goes on with the big boy stuff, this is actually the only thing in this video that made me think, but I will still justify as to why going Opal and Malachite, so Opal in your Great Axe and Malachite in your Hammer, is better than what he's suggesting. But I'm gonna let you listen to his explanation, and it made me think as well, but then I'll give you a reason as to why I don't agree with it.
Stuff. Moving over to the weapons. We have
Okay, first thing, any Great Axe without refreshing move, in my opinion, it's a bad Great Axe. This Great Axe is no different. I believe this is a bad Great Axe. I would rather see him have a purple refreshing move thwarting strikes than him having attunement thwarting strikes. Well, with Kin, but Kin doesn't exactly do much for him here in this scenario. It looks nice. This Great Axe looks nice, right? But it doesn't do the job that you want Great Axe to do, which is left click those clumps, get your gravity well ready, dodge grav, dodge shock, spin combo, right? You can't really do that, and he has no refreshing ward on his pieces. So the only time I would be like, alright, it makes a little bit of sense if I saw the man run with 7 refreshing ward pieces, right? But he doesn't. So he has no way of lowering his cooldowns, therefore this Great Axe is bad.
with Thwarting Strikes, Keen, Attunement. This one, honestly, took me a while.
Let's take a look at the page. Goes Maelstrom. Most of the perks are... This is alright. I don't... Maybe there's some like one side thingy different. Maybe it's completely the same as mine. It looks alright on a very quick glance.
To get still not perfect. Would like to see a refreshing move on this.
We can do a quick little login just to double check this.
I think 600k in rolls we spent, my company, and I pretty sure.
And then his hammer. Quick glance looks alright.
No, we haven't gotten it yet. So, this is one of the best ones that we had. One of my other homies who did all the rolling and who kind of funded the roll. Shout out to the homie James. He got a Thwarting Strikes Attunement Keenly Jagged Axe, which...
Thwarting Strikes Attunement Keenly Jagged. Solid if you were to run Refreshing Ward across the gear. Bad if you don't have any sort of... if you don't have Refreshing Ward, I don't think it's good because you don't have Refreshing Move. The one that he just talked about.
Is super insane. Really good axe. This is the one we got though. So we have the crit chance on here with Keen. Obviously helping us get those, synergizing with our headpiece, helping us get those crits, a little bit of extra health back, all that good stuff. Thwarting Strikes, just a golden standard on all grit axes, dealing 12% more damage when we have grit. Attunement, 18% damage. So right there you have an extra 30% damage just from those abilities. We factor in the Retaliate, which by...
And this is the interesting part, right? Let's listen to his reasoning why Retaliate is better.
R is the only gem that you should socket if you're a Bruiser.
I heavily disagree. So here's why. Now, in order to proc the Retaliate, you need somebody to hit you. And the argument as a Bruiser, yeah, you're gonna be hit all the time. Yeah, sure, but what happens in a war scenario where you've just respawned, the enemy is stacking the point, you gotta get your full combo in. The way Great Axe works is... Look, if we jump into the game, I'll demonstrate it. So... The Great Axe damage is a snapshot. So as I throw the Gravwell, the game will remember all of my buffs, all of my damage, no matter what I do. Okay, the game remembers. It's a snapshot. So if I run Opal, right? If I run Opal, what can I do to immediately increase damage? Just dodge Grav. That's it. That increases the damage automatically. Okay? And 2 seconds, that's 1, 2. You would be surprised how many times... When you go for your full combo, which is dodge grav, I'll demonstrate it right now. So you left click to get your Mauler stacks, right? Boom, boom. We're left clicking in a fight, doing a few dodges. And then we dodge grav, yeah? Dodge shock. And then we spin. And as we spin, the grav explodes, we do crazy damage, the crowd goes wild, right? If we pop a little stone form before that, or a little detonate before that, that's your bread and butter combo, right? Now, if you have your Jasper, the 15%, you need to be hit before that. But you'd be surprised the amount of times you're gonna go for this combo, and 2 seconds before that, nothing will be hitting you. Because realistically, when you go for the combo, you're gonna have a little bit of distance. Let's say this rock is my enemy, right here on the edges, right? I've just left-clicked some healers here, left-click outside of, declumped a little bit after the first nuke. Okay, now my Mauler is ready, my combo is ready. We go for dodge grav, dodge shock, spin. So what if during that time I just didn't get hit? 15% damage, poof, gone, right? But if I don't need to rely on that because I have Opal. And it's a tiny difference. It's a 3% difference, right? But it's a 3% guaranteed difference because you are guaranteed you are always going to dodge grav. You as a good Bruiser should be able to always dodge grav, dodge shock, spin every single time, right? And that is why I do not agree with this statement, but it did made me think. It made me think, maybe I could run this on Hammer. But there's another reason. Why don't I run this on Hammer? Let's say I'm bullying down a healer. Yeah, I'm bullying down a healer. I see he used riposte. I bait it out. I follow it up with a Wrecking Ball into dodge shock. Watch my stamina into full heavy. See, this is why you don't run Opal. Why? Because my stamina was full. Therefore, Malachite, because they are stunned. If they don't run 3 Freedom, that's a one-hit combo on most squishes. Most bows, most healers, a simple, let's say, few left clicks, right? Into dodge Wrecking Ball, dodge shock even. Now this one, still, most of the times you're not going to be 100 stamina. You're going to be 100 stamina by the time your heavy goes through. And that's why you run Malachite on Hammer. It did make me think, though, to maybe run this on Hammer, but once again, what if you don't get hit, which most of the times you don't get hit in that situation, making me believe that this is not worth slotting the way he says it.
There is no
And most
literally comparison.
he says there's no comparison. There really is. You can guarantee 12% damage or be questioned whether or not you might have 15% bonus damage. Take 12% every single day of the week. Most top tier bruisers will agree with me on this one. And if not, let me know in the comments. We can have a little discussion. But I can ask every single top tier EU bruiser. They're all running opals, and there's a reason for that.
If you're still using opal, you're about 2 months behind, bro.
Disagree. NA is about a year behind.
Retaliate, it's yo, don't laugh at me. It's multiplicative, the damage, right? I think I said it right, not additive. So you're dealing more damage. If you're a bruiser, you're getting hit all the time, right? All the time you're getting hit.
I think this comes just from looking at the paper, but not actually the game war scenarios. You'd be surprised how many times you don't get hit for 2 seconds and then you're just missing out on a whole lot of damage, basically. But I already explained my point of view here. But this one made me think a little bit. Still disagree with him, though.
You're maintaining the 15% by using a Jasper. You're not getting the 12%, which you would have if you used the opal. Obviously, with using the rune glass. So that's big. I'm choosing to use a electrified retaliate Jasper gem. Just because
anything works. Arboreal, void, shit, even fire. People don't really slot specific gems anymore because it's not worth it. A lot of the damage sources are just split into all these different magic sources, so you really need between 8 and 10 elemental resistance, which is what his build is missing. Doesn't make any sense which one you go. All of them are fine. You just take this little tick damage and that's it.
Damage is one of the coolest abilities in the game, just coolest things. You can't really spec to it as well either. So getting a little bit of the extra damage, it's nice. As you can see, so what do we have? 30% between Thwarting Strike's attunement. Then we factor in the Jasper, 45%. Add 8% on there. If again, granted it's a dot, but you can add the 8% on there as well too. 53% extra damage. Plus we have the 4.9% coming here. And things start to get really insane. We start to pump a lot of damage. Moving over to the hammer.
Looking at the hammer, good free option. Batcher, Gill, Cudgel, whatever. You get it in Brimstone for free. Obviously, we have a chain instead of Ancient Bane, but just a shock thwarting. It's a nice 2-perker. You don't go wrong with it.
This one is just kind of... I just really wanted Thwarting Strikes and Sundering Shockwave. Obviously, I don't have a good third perk here.
That's alright. It's completely good to
really,
perker.
The only thing I use my hammer for is just for CCs. So.
And this is where you'll see a massive difference when it comes to good bruisers. Good bruisers are going to be using the mechanic called half heavy attack on a hammer, which is actually going to be lunging you super far forward in wars without needing to use a stamina. Another reason as to why you don't go opal on a hammer, but you can half heavy like this, and it's really gonna drag you forward. Now, what really experienced bruisers will do, you can also left click, right click, cancel with hammers, not use any stamina, and miss position in wars. Let's say you're stuck in an ice, you can left click, and then like as you get there's no enemies nearby, but if there was an enemy, if this rock was an enemy, the game would pull me towards the enemy. So you hit and then immediately right click, hit, right click, hit, right click. So instead of having this clunky left click animation of a hammer, this is 2 hit, you have left click into right click, left click into right click, left click into right click, and it really like catapults you in distances. And you don't require to ever use mana. So you can go this combo with light clicks, or you can go half heavies. So not full heavy, but half heavy. Right as the hammer goes into your left foot, you release. And that's gonna deal nice damage, and it's really gonna track you further to the enemies. Another reason as to not run opal on a hammer. Let's continue.
Oh, having the shockwave on there.
Oh yeah, I see this video is getting a bit long, but fuck it, I mean, hey, it's an information-packed video.
It fits in perfectly with my build of Thwarting Strikes, making sure they deal more damage. Also synergizing with Invigorated Punishment. I think it does work good. A good second that I use is my Rogue, Sundering Shock.
This is same thing as me thinking Rogue is actually good. It's really not. Rogue is kind of shit on a hammer. Also a reason as to why I changed mine. Sometimes you gotta have your eyes opened by better players and tell you, listen, Rogue is shit, don't run it. And I was justifying it as well, but the crit multiplier on a hammer is bad. So it's really, it's not a good perk, basically. Thwarting strikes, 100% better.
Shockwave axe. I do a lot of auto attacks with the hammer, like a lot of like not fully charged heavies, but I'd say like medium charged heavies to close distance, or light attacks to close distance.
What I was
when people
talking
are
about,
running
yeah.
away. Essentially using the hammer for its lunge, because it gets more lunge.
All right, perfect. So he knows what he's talking about when it comes to being able to move with just left-clicking hammer, never needing to use stamina.
Having rogue works really good with that playstyle. Thwarting strikes is obviously good as well too. So here, you just, in my opinion, you really want to make sure you have Sundering Shockwave.
That's true.
It's really, really nice to have on the hammer.
Now, another really good option, and that's up for debate, would be a commitment hammer, which is my personal preference, which is Shockwave Enchanted and Chain Damage. Now, that one is a little bit better if you do a little bit more left-clicking with it, but both these hammers are free, and both are very good to use.
You can have it on the gear. I don't recommend it as much. I think the hammer is the best spot for it. And then Thwarting Strikes is good. Rogue is good. And then, you know, maybe even Enchanted, but definitely try to stick to those two. I think it'll be really good with the playstyle and kind of just how things work. As far as our Heart Rune,
this one hurts my soul. Please upgrade this to Brutal Heart Rune of Detonate, or go for Brutal Stone Form or Cunning Stone Form. Those are your 3 best options on a Bruiser.
I don't even have it fully upgraded yet.
Yeah, I hope I see this change fast.
Detonate's insane. You pretty much throw a grab well, go into a clump, detonate, calm to your healer though, because you do take increased damage when you're detonating. So make sure that you calm your healer, that way he can heal you. Go in there, detonate, blow things up, W key, do Bruiser things. It works great. If you're a Bruiser, no other Heart Rune you should have.
Heavy disagree. A lot of top tier Bruisers have been slowly realizing that in fact Stone Form is very slept on. Why? It allows you to always do uninterrupted full combos, right? If you see me playing in a war, you'll see me Stone Form, right? I don't have it available right now. Stone Form, dodge grab, dodge shock, spin. As I'm spinning, my Stone Form also explodes. The amount of one hits, you cannot get cancelled out of it, because what's gonna happen if you use Brutal Detonate, not only are you susceptible to a lot of damage, it's more high risk, high reward play, while Stone Form is low risk, high reward play. And in wars, survivability over fucking hero plays any day of the week. So Stone Form is, in my personal opinion, in debate here, but I definitely agree. Brutal Detonate, super useful to run, but it's not your only option. Definitely not.
Ones. This is it. Run Detonate. Now we can kind of go over the gem allotment.
In his defense, though, I believe that is 2 months ago. And since then, I believe Detonate has been nerfed a little bit. So maybe his opinion now is slightly changed, but that's alright.
Which I think is a really, really...
I'm talking to you from now, like as in January 2023. Stone Form is also a viable option, definitely.
Big one, and this is kind of where everything comes together. And I kind of want to save it just because, you know, it's lit like that. So obviously we have 3 pieces of Elemental Aversion, granting us around 12% elemental resistance.
Oh, this is what hurts me the most. Look at his resistances. Nothing on the elemental resistances, everything on the slash. Strike and thrust, sure. I mean, 9 is fine. 9 is fine. But what really hurts is that elemental resistance. That is... I mean, people change their weapons to deal... Even him included. He says Detonate just kills everyone. If an entire NA server is not playing elemental resistance, then Detonate is by far the best rune. It deals void damage. None of these guys have any void resistances. I'm not sure if they're even using gemstone dust. I would hope they are. We'll see as we go deeper into the video. But looking at this, man, it's bad. Like, this needs changing. And because I want this to be informative, how could you change that? Get this amulet, change it into slash protection with stam recovery with health whenever you can. That's already 10% slash resistance, right? We're gonna add 4 onyxes in total. Okay, that's gonna get you 8%. Let's just imagine them being on jewelry. Just imagine them. If some of them are on armor, that's fine. Actually, let's just pretend they are on armor, okay? So 4 punishing onyxes, that's gonna give you exactly 8%. So you're gonna have 18% slash, 8% strike, 8% thrust, and then you still have 4 gem slots for opals. So one is gonna be punishing, that's 2% elemental, and then 7.5% because this cannot be punishing. So you're gonna be chilling on 9.5% elemental and everything I've said before that. That's your sweet spot. That's where you wanna get to. I would like you to change that. You'll see you'll be an absolute demon, as long as you know how to play the game, of course, which I don't doubt you do. But try that. It's gonna be so much better for you.
So with that being said, we're free to slot the gems, whatever gems we slot in our armor. We're free to essentially have those all be physical.
Heavy disagree on that. Heavy disagree. He has no void protection. I said it already.
Now in the greatsword bruiser meta that we kind of experience when we're in wars and in OPRs, minus the bow guys and the musket guys still being there. A lot of the fighting that you're going to be doing, you're going to be going up against either bruisers trying to peel for their healers because you're backline diving, you know what I'm saying, you're getting to the healers, or you're just super W king, which you should always be doing. Remove your S key from the keyboard, only W key please. We're getting
It's a good
massive,
suggestion. W
massive
key is
slash
great.
damage resistance. I think when I get hit for slash damage, I'm only getting hit for like maybe 700-800. And we're able to stand in the clumps, take care of business with the elemental aversion and the frost conditioning protecting us from those, a lot of the mage attacks in the clumps. The bruisers in the clumps are not able to really hit us for much. We have good damage resistance.
See, it all works on paper until you have 2 people detonating at you at the same time, or there's 2 gravity wells on top of each other and you're fighting in it and you just get one popped. I wouldn't be surprised if I were to see your gameplay and you're really surviving, like you really, like nothing with Great X is really doing much to you, and then all of a sudden you get rendered a little bit, you're in 2 gravs and you just pop. Get that elemental resistance up a little bit and you're gonna do a lot better. If you have 18% slash damage reduction, which you will get if you follow my suggestion, you're still gonna be a demon. You're still gonna take a lot of slash damage and be completely fine as long as your healer is alive, of course, which needs to be the case if you're playing Bruiser. And you won't be getting one popped like that, to detonates and to Gravwell pops.
Resistance to slash damage, strike damage. We only have 9%. Same for thrust. I don't get hit by muskets much. Really not a problem for me. Strike damage. Obviously
that's okay. Hammers will hit you, but not too hard. That's fine. Like
hammers. So hammers are the number one thing that you're gonna be wanting to iframe, and that will definitely be one of the most valuable skills to this build because there is no freedom, is iframing. So we'll show kind of how I practice my iframe and how you guys can as well too, coming up here in a bit. But this is definitely the build, bro. This is the sauce. It's really sick.
It's not it, boys. It's not the sauce. This is the sauce. Trust me on this one. Resi shirking freedom, boys. Say it with me. Resi shirking freedom. That's the sauce. Yeah, okay. Resi freedom with a perk. Resi shirk freedom. Resi shirk freedom. That's the sauce. Not fucking frost conditioning elemental. God damn it, man. I'm rude, man. I feel bad. But I have to tell my boys what is actually good. This hurts, man.
Man, it's unstoppable. You don't take bruiser damage. You don't take elemental damage, especially if you have healers on your side. And you're able to pump insane amount of damage. Obviously for this as well too, that's something I did forget. The rune glasses that we're using in all this is rune glass of punishing.
That's punishing is fine. Don't run slash protection, just run it in amulet. We went over it, boys.
Why we're using rune glass of punishing in our armor, as of this current writing, it does not count towards your empower cap. So that means that this 5% damage that we're getting from having punishing gems in here isn't counting towards our empower cap, which we're at almost all the time with Mauler's Fury and some of our other perks. So really nice to have this on there. We're getting the 5% extra from that. We're at like 53% extra from our great axe. We're just constantly dealing insane damage. So obviously, if we're dealing 1440 damage off our great axe and we're getting almost 60% of that damage like added on to that as well, you can see how this is a problem build. All right, so that's pretty much the gem allotments. That's the gear. We talked about the whys. We talked about the what's, the who's, all that good stuff. Now let's dive into some footage. I'll show you how I practice my iframing, which is really...
And this is here I will be a little coach, and I'll react to his footage and try to give him some tips to see if he could be even better to what he's showing us.
just finding the best bruiser that I know, hitting them up, dueling with them. I think it's excellent. In duels,
Okay,
you can
instantly 0 stam. Does he have stam recovery here?
learn things on a smaller scale, as opposed to when you're fighting in OPRs and wars. It's kind of hard for you to, if you're trying to learn how
Brother, you have stam recovery here.
to iframe, it's not really the best environment to do so because there's so many factors happening. Start small, do 1v1s, practice iframing. Then you'll see it directly translate into OPRs and wars.
Okay,
And
nice dodge
then
grab.
outside of that,
I mean,
I
it's a duel versus one person. It's like really
yeah,
whatever.
That's really it, man. You just have to W key. That's the number one tip, W key. When you think you shouldn't be W keying as a bruiser, W key harder. If you die, that's fine. Your job as a bruiser, seriously, double W key, dump as much damage, and kill as many people. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it helps, man. Here's the footage of us fragging out. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Okay, and now he proceeds to show us some OPR clips. Let's take a look. So, stone form. No stamina. Okay, so instantly hit, dodge, hit, dodge, hit, dodge. Me, as a stamina manager and Europe's best stamina manager bruiser, I can respect that behavior because it's a very common thing in bruisers. You dodge hit, dodge hit, dodge hit, and then where's my stamina and you're dead. If your shock was available here, I'd be okay with it. If you're in shirking fortification, shit, I'll be okay with it. But no, I wouldn't be okay with it because it's pretty bad, right? But let's see. Okay, so this is one interesting thing. He doesn't need to dodge before spin because he's... Brother, you're running Opal! You're telling us not to run Opal, but you're running Opal and you're spinning with full stam. I'm pissed. We're gonna end it here. I don't want to be rude anymore. But he is running Opal here, and he is spinning on 100 stamina. So all the damage multipliers that we just listened to, they don't actually affect this gameplay at all. And once again, hit, dodge, hit, dodge, hit, dodge, 0 stamina. Gets 2 kills. Spin on 100 stamina, but sure, gets a kill. That was okay iframe, I would be alright. Going 0 stamina to dodge a shock is fine. Here I would like him to like... We can nitpick, it's OPR footage. OPR and he can have 2 pocket healers, it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is we went over this entire video, we showcased our points, we showcased our disagreements. As always, this is not my attempt to bash Nemesis, even though now looking back at it, 50 minutes of just disagreeing, I can see it coming out like that. Maybe I'm turning into that guy that just has problems with everyone. But I really, when I had people join my stream and they were talking about that they just spent 15k buying this sort of setup, and I'm like, listen, buddy, it's dog shit. You need resi, you need shirking. You add freedom as a 3rd perk. And then seeing this, it sucks a little bit, man. It sucks. Orofena, bro. Orofena is not where it's at. Orofena is not where it's at. That's all I want to say. Like, get your man, Orofena. Like, this is not it. That's all I'm gonna say. I do sincerely hope you guys did enjoy this video. Say it with me. Dodge grab, dodge shock, spin. Let's have a good rest of your day and resi shirking freedom, boys. That's the biz. That's where it's at. And these are the sort of resistances you can aim towards. I would even go as far as saying 1 less punishing Opal, 1 more punishing Onyx. I actually didn't check my resistances in a hot minute here. But then you have a nice little balanced build that is gonna carry you through your wars. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, you do let me know in the comments, because this is one of my longest form videos I've ever recorded on my channel. So do let me know, and let's shoot for the moon. Let's go for 10k subs on this 2nd channel that we got going for us here. It was a pleasure. Hopefully I'll see you around very soon. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye bye everyone. See ya.